Welcome back to O's on the Go, and today I'll be showing you how to remove your alternator from your Ford 3.8 liter motor. Now this is for Mustangs, Ford Rangers, early edition Ford Cougars and Thunderbirds as well. So this applies to anything that's somewhat old and a few new things out there. So let's get started. Okay, here is your 3.8 liter motor, Ford edition. Now let's locate our alternator, which is right here. Now before we do anything with any electrical components, especially in a generator, you always want to disconnect the battery before you do that, because you don't want to get shocked or hurt or electrocuted or anything of that nature when you're working with electrical components, especially replacing them on a car. You always want to remember safety first, which is disconnect the battery. So let's do that. Now that we have the battery disconnected, as you can see, the next thing you want to do is remove your serpentine belt. Then, in order to do that, you want to locate your tensioner pulley, which is here, which would take pressure off of the alternator so that you may remove it. Secondly, just to make the job a little easier, you also want to remove your coolant tank as well, just to make the job a little easier. You don't have to, but just to make the job easier. So let's do that. Now, as you can see, we have our cooler tank out of the way so that we have access to the tensioner pulley, which is an 18mm socket, by the way, 1/2 inch or 3/8, your choice. I would use an extension bar just to give yourself extra leverage, because sometimes these things stick or they're just tough to loosen up. So now, let's get the serpentine belt off. So what you want to do is, you want to take your extension bar and push it to the left. As you can see, that has loosened up the serpentine belt so that we can remove it. Okay, the next thing we want to do is remove all electrical components from our generator. So we have a clip here, a tiny clip here. We have a positive battery connector right here. And we also have a 13mm bolt at the top and a 15mm bolt at the bottom. Once we do that, we can completely remove the alternator. Okay, now that we have our top 13mm loose, we have our 15mm at the bottom loose, we have our electrical clip here and our clip here, and we have our battery connection disconnected. Here are all those right there. We can safely remove the alternator. Okay, as you can see, in doing that, that freed up the alternator. So we'll just remove our bottom bolt. Okay, now that we have both of those free, we are now ready to remove As you can see, it's moving around freely because it's ready to come out. So now, just a little wiggle, and your alternator is free. Now you can replace it. And in this case, this one is new, so we won't be replacing that. Now, if you're wondering, the reverse process is the same. Put your 13 back in the alternator. Put your 15 back, tighten those up. Put your electrical components back. Okay. Our positive battery connector back. This tiny bolt is a 10 millimeter. Then the next thing you want to do is put your serpentine belt back the way it was. Make sure it's properly routed on the alternator, as it should be. Put your coolant tank back in its proper place. And then you're ready to go. Make sure your battery is reconnected, as it should be, so that you can power up your alternator so that it may power up everything else. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you very much.